It's happened. I've just joined Hadasah. Hadasah, the Women's Zionist Organization of America, Incorporated. Do you want to know how it happened? It's all here in my little book. You see, I always said I wasn't a joiner. I blamed it on Mama. Because Mama was the biggest joiner-upper in the world. That used to annoy me once. I understand Mama better now. I know why. As far back as I can remember, Mama always belonged to everything. Red Cross, Civil Defense, PTA, the synagogue, and of course, Hadasah. Always and forever, Hadasah.
My friends, Hadasah, founded in 1912, is today the largest Zionist organization in the world. In the United States, our stress is on education for democratic living. No. In the United States, our stress is on education for democratic action and creative Jewish living. While in Israel, we do research, healing, and teaching, American style, for the benefit of all, regardless of race or creed. Regardless of race or creed.
Mama was always rehearsing for a speech. And though I married and became the mother of a boy, she still brought Hadasah with her when she came to visit. That's still my Mama, and that's my baby. And that's my Joe, my ex-GI Joe, who finished law school after the Army and is now practicing at the bar. Joe and I made a bargain that after he finished his exams, I could go back to college, baby or no baby. So, 2 nights a week, I went to school, and Joe boned up on his cases. The darling. While Mama came here to babysit and do a little membership homework for Hadasah.
Why don't you introduce me to the lady? I never met a dame dressed in a hospital bed before.
Admit it. On her it's becoming. Joe, meet Mrs. Hadasah. Mrs. Hadasah, meet Joe.
I'm awfully glad I caught you before I left, honey. Oh, have you two met? She's supposed to catch 5 new members for Hadasah tonight, isn't she, Mama?
And she will, too.
And how's the report going, Mrs. Ph.D.?
Oh, rotten. I haven't got a subject.
Oh.
What report are you writing, Lucille?
It's something sociological, darling. Don't you worry your little Hadasah head about it.
And why not? And the Hadasah woman understands the meaning of the word sociological very well when it comes to finding out what makes people act the way they do. I'd say there's plenty of sociological material right here in this living room. When 300,000 women join Hadasah and work the way we do, well, I may be wrong, but to me that's sociological. Maybe you should stay right here and study us.
What Mama said stuck in my mind. I found myself thinking, Hadasah would make a good sociological study. And you know what I did? I discussed it with my professor. And you know what he said? He said it's unnatural. He said you've known these people from childhood. Now see them objectively. Find why they joined Hadasah. What their neighbors, including their non-Jewish neighbors, think of them. So, in this little book, I made my plan. Step 1, a membership meeting in my own living room.
The pioneers who made America, who also suffered because they were different, used our Bible as a way of life, used its democratic ideas as a new way of governing. The Bible teaches that all humanity comes from one source. The Declaration of Independence says that all men are created free and equal. They say the same thing. As Americans, you have a right and a duty to hand on to your children an understanding of this part of your Jewish heritage, too. Now, in Hadassah, you do this through self-education. Now, before we go on, I'm going to ask all of you a rather odd question. What do you want out of life? Mrs. Marcus?
Well, the same as everybody, I suppose. Security for my family.
And you, Mrs. Gold?
Information. I feel ashamed of how little I know.
Mrs. Greenley?
To help Israel. For our own self-interest, too, as Americans. Because it's a democracy like ours.
My notes say one wanted to be a better member of her community. Another, to help those who suffered. They talked a lot about being humanitarian.
Talking about being humanitarian, you know, in Israel, they call us the organization with a heart.
And that's the Hadassah Hospital?
Yes. We have 5 in Jerusalem, 1 in Safed and 1 in Beersheba. We are specialists, too, in work for mothers and children in 35 health stations. When you join, you become a partner in Israel's only medical school. You operate the famous Henrietta Zoll School of Nursing.
Oh, I always wanted to be a nurse.
So you pay your Hadassah dues and you become one. And here is a name to remember, the Bet Maznil Community Health Experiment.
What is it?
Here, we treat not only the individual, but the family as a unit. Not only the patients, but the whole community.
And that's new.
Yes! The medical experts say that if it works, it could change the whole approach to preventive medicine in all countries with similar problems. And here's something else new.
Oh, the new medical center.
After tonight, it'll be yours. The experts agree that this center is a brilliant architectural concept. Now, here's the radial unit, which cuts down walking distances for the staff. The service core is here, and the bed here.
And that?
Well, that's the new laboratory building. And here is the new nursing school, which we are building first. And here, the new medical school, which was founded in 1949 and which is already graduating 75 doctors a year.
It's beautiful. I feel I'm helping mankind already.
I know just how you feel. My daughter here is majoring in sociology. She understands how you feel, too, don't you, Lucille?
I hope she understands.
My son-in-law, Joe, will now show you some movies which will be a surprise because you know some of the people.
Really?
We do. Well, you remember the newspaper stories that Hadassah, about the doctors that Hadassah brought to the United States on fellowships to study in our town?
Yes, to learn American techniques.
Joe, are you ready?
Yes. Will you turn off the lights, please?
All right, see if you know who this is.
Oh, Dr. Kornbluth, the one who learned to transplant the cornea of the eye. My husband helped him.
Right. And if that girl can see today, it's because of what American doctors helped him to learn, right here in this town.
That's wonderful.
Dr. Felix Saga, the leprosy specialist.
Those people are lepers?
Yes. Leprosy is a disease newcomers sometimes bring in. Hadassah provides experts for the only leprosarium in Israel.
Can it be cured?
Not yet. But drugs we export from the United States do wonders in arresting leprosy and rehabilitating the victims.
Oh, I met him in your house.
Dr. Abraham Hoffman, the cancer specialist. With American isotope equipment, his department, too, is seeking a cure for cancer. Nursing supervisor Marguerite Cohn, also on fellowship recently in the United States. Her students from 22 countries can hardly wait for their building in our new medical center to be completed. Yes, polio. The destroyer which respects no frontiers. The enemy we all fight. Our American trained fighters are Dr. Adler and Dr. Mikan.
Just breaks your heart.
Oh, the sweet baby.
Watch them give the child confidence and hope.
How hard he tries.
This is why Hadassah is blessed in Israel.
Oh, it's his clothes. Oh, that's fine, darling. Keep it up. Oh,
Good.
The crippled baby made it. I kept remembering him as I took mountains of notes, eavesdropped, questioned. And before long, I was no longer an outsider. I knew that for sure during a youth aliyah rehearsal. Service is something Hadassah woman took for granted. If you were on the premises,
Okay,
you were
Miss
expected
Hill.
to work.
we're ready for the run-through.
Ready.
It's about there.
Begin We Mothers in America. Music.
We mothers in America, whose children, safe and lovely as they are lost.
Yes, lost. If somewhere in the world another youth is hungry, angry, fearful, and alone,
Tell you of Youth Aliyah.
through which a generation of our children is redeemed.
In the land of Israel, the holy land of Israel, in villages like this, they make their homes today. Here, earth and work and sun are healing elements.
The girl who lost her father has one now. The boys whom war and steel made motherless now sharpen steel for other enterprise. Into the earth they store away such strength as roots the future there in Israel.
Have you a daughter? Then you know the peace that comes with homely women's work.
You also know how children's minds made dark by fear unfold with books and pass into a world of spirit and intelligence. You know what happens to young bodies straining for a youthful victory.
But tell me, by what plan or miracle these hounded victims of 3 continents were then redeemed in body and in mind? Say how?
Just look. These Germans, Austrians, and Czechs, the first to come, prepared the way. They all are teachers now.
You mean these were the first young salvaged lives? Go on. What happened next?
Next, French and Dutch and Belgian youth, Hungarian and Polish poured upon this land, and see, took root and flourished here.
But now they come from caves of ignorance, from oriental ghettos. Can these dark links be welded to the older chain?
Yes, I declare that under darkness always lies the laughter-shaken child, the flesh, the soul, the heart that holds a promise of sweet normalcy.
But sum it up. Tell it plainly.
I will. You are a mother. You will understand. You love them all.
I love them?
Look, a boy who never saw a porcelain water bowl comes in and will not wash his face or give his lumpy bundle up, ashamed to fail. The teacher, once as ignorant herself, not only understands, she demonstrates. with laughter and with patience and humility. Through soap-filled eyes she conquers. He is smiling now. I'm helpless too, she seems to tell the boy. Come, help me, please. Now watch. He brings the towel, the victor. He's the strong one now. And having turned his weakness into strength through love, with love, he stands redeemed.
And all this love for washing of a face, reward, a smile and confidence.
But if you do not love them too, the world is not fit either for your child. Love them as you would your only son.
Love them as you would your only son. Your world is wider than my own. I have a growing need to see what else you do for Israel's youth.
Welcome to the Hadassa Vocational Education Exhibit. Ladies and gentlemen, thinking that the world of youth is indivisible, Hadassa works to make Israel's youth skilled enough to create a good tomorrow together with our own children. To help Israel help itself, Hadassa trains them for homemaking. To mold the molders of the youth of the future, they are prepared for commerce and for trade, for printing and the graphic arts, for hotel skills to build the tourist industry, for rural and for village arts needed in the 20th century economy, all the way from the temporary settlements, the Ma'abarat, to the fashion world, where skills from many lands combine to make new beauty and a new economy.
I felt a deep respect for these Hadassa women and a pride that from America should come the impetus for such good work. Then, preparing to find how they were viewed by my community, I realized how much I'd become a part of it. I hoped my neighbors valued them and understood. Almost without knowing it, I was becoming their spokesman. Because I knew the mayor, I was the one roped in to ask him a favor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving my friends permission to make their JNF street collection again this year.
Oh, I'm a farmer myself. I appreciate what the Jewish National Fund is doing to reclaim and reforest the Holy Land. I understand why Hadassa is helping in this important work.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Whether it was the medical equipment firm, which gave a discount on medical supplies, or the woman in the grocery store who agreed to display the literature for a membership campaign. Christian minister who asked his congregation to see the Hadassah film, which showed how Jewish women were practicing the healing arts in the Holy Land. Whether it was a station which gave them time, frankly, to discuss Israel's place in our foreign affairs.
Presenting The Women in Green, written for Hadassah by Ernest Kenoy.
Our truck wound down the hillside slowly, picking its way between the shallow, half-filled shell holes. Beside me in the cab sat Lena. She was young, and her hands were rough from her work as a student nurse, but they were still young hands. I was comparing them with my own.
Or the United Nations headquarters, where their support was welcomed and acknowledged. Hadassa has status in my community, respected for its projects on all fronts. So to me, my friends, an American wife and mother, this is proof that we are a part of a healthy Jewish current within the mainstream of American democracy. I am hoping many young women, like myself, in addition to their PTA, civil defense, Red Cross, and other civic work, will take on the challenge of Hadassah too. Yours will be a richer life because of Hadassah. Oh, Joseph, don't you dare laugh at me.
Laugh at you? I'm proud of you. I believe every word of it.
Oh, I started to make a sociological study, but I became part of it. It will make me a better American, Joe. A better woman, a better Jew.
I believe you. Shall I prove it? I'll join Hadassah, the Women's Zionist Organization of America, too.
Poor Joe. He didn't realize that when I joined, he automatically became a member of the Voluntary Order of Hadassah Husbands, unincorporated.